Hello, my name is Brent Elder. I'm one who helped organize this event. We've got Ken Keith coming in later on today. He'll probably show up this morning at some point. This will be coming on right on 1 o'clock. And this morning I'm going to take a couple hours. It's going to take a couple hours to go through material I put together, which is a book called Wiki versus the New World Order. So that's the plan for the next about 2 hours, maybe 2:15. We'll see questions and so forth. So my purpose is to make sure that we get a common understanding of what the problems are. You also get little bits from the news and stuff. So I'm going to give you from my perspective what the problems of society are. And then I'm going to give a high-level overview of what the content of the book is, because it's 996 pages. There's a lot of content there, a lot of data, and I'll explain why it's that big. And the payoff is, hopefully we have a better idea at the end of the day, what kind of tools we have going forward to potentially help us fix some of these problems. That's the objective. I launched a survey. Raise your hand if you answered the survey. Okay, I got maybe on the site, maybe 10, so not quite enough. The idea behind the survey normally is you want to get an idea of what the audience knows. Because it's a unidirectional list right now. I'm talking to you, I know what I know, but I don't know what you know. So in this case, I'm going to go over most of the material the same way. So if I had a good return, I probably would have said, well, this chapter, I don't have to cover it, I can skip it and roll along faster. That's the kind of intent. So welcome to anybody who's an agent for the CIA, Mossad, or CISA. And if you think that's a joke, I didn't bring the video today, but I have a former CIA agent on video. His first job as an analyst was at McGill University, and his job was to go to every student union meeting and monitor every professor in the university as one analyst and give feedback to the agency on what was going on at McGill University, and all universities have this in them. And he quit the CIA, and he says it, it's right on video on camera, he says he quit the CIA when his last job was to go into Cuba, and they would wait till the milk trucks would be parked. And then when the drivers went in for their break, they'd climb onto the milk trucks, and they'd put lime in the milk to make the kids sick, so that they could overburden the Cuban economy. That was the objective at the time. This guy said, well, that's where I thought was enough. I'm no longer a good guy. So a bit about me. I'm a guy from Saint-Cyboire, Quebec, up north. Some people call me a redneck. I'm a shotgun, pickup truck, it's true. So I grew up, my father's an engineer. He's Anglo, my mom's French, so I'm perfectly bilingual. So if anybody has questions later, no problem. But I grew up in that environment up north. And I like to build things, I like to fix things. I guess it's because of my father's upbringing. But I grew up in the Lebanc years, and there was still a lot in the press. The notion of French and English and conflict. As a child, grade 2, I remember watching girls kick this kid Sean in the balls for about 5 minutes. And Sean went off in an ambulance, we never saw him again. I thought, there's something wrong here. It's this thing called politics, and why are these guys all riled up? What's this? I didn't understand it. I thought it had to be pretty complicated. It struck me, it stuck with me my whole life looking at what's going on in Quebec and this tension. So anyways, continued on, went to do regular schooling, CEGEP and all that stuff, the sciences, but before I went to university, I made the change. I thought I was going into engineering and all that kind of bad, like my father, but the last minute I switched on to Concordia, political science. Did 3 years, focusing more on international and economic. And by the time I got to the end of that, I thought to myself, most of these guys still live with their parents. It's not their parents living with them. There's nothing practical going on. It's nice reading books that are 2,000 years old, or Plato or whatever, but I mean, it's not practical. And the guys running the show are the ones with the money. So I went into accounting. I figured bean counters, they know about money. So I became a CMA at McGill University. And when I left McGill, I went into consulting. And so I figured, you know, I'm young, I'm single, I can jump on a plane, high-paying jobs with the help. So within a week, I was off airplanes, helicopters, being dropped off at plants across North America. I've been doing that pretty much for about 20 years, either working as a consultant, being external coming in, or being hired as a specialist within the company to do that kind of stuff. I get titles like special projects guy, where people go, oh, what the hell's he here for? That kind of stuff. And it's a little bit different notions of consulting. I'm a computer consultant, it's very technical. You have management consultants. Most of my time they bill us at about $10,000 a week US plus expenses, and I thought that was a lot until I met the big six, like the McKinseys of this world. These guys get billed at $25,000, $22,000 US a week, right? It's big bucks they pay for the services. But those guys do analysis, so they'll spend like 6 months analyzing and coming back to us and saying, this is what you have to do to be profitable, give us our $2 million, and they walk out. Our firms would come in afterwards and say, okay, have you had other consultants in here? Oh yeah, we had McKinsey. Oh yeah? Give us the book. Look at the, did you do this? No. Did you do this? No. Did you do this? No. So then we would cherry pick, and then we would execute, and help the company put in a management control system so that they could actually do the stuff that was supposed to be done. So at one point I got fed up with traveled a lot, and we're settling down, my wife and I, and so I took a job at, I was in a foundry, aluminum foundry in Quebec that did Cadillac engines, Cadillac headers, special products. And I thought I wanted more into finance, so I put my CV out for the second time in my life. And 3 weeks later, I was working at Air Transat as the director of finance. And I was there, I guess, I arrived somewhere around 88 or 89. And very quickly, I got along with the chief operating officer who come from Air Canada, and we were working pretty hard. And I got promoted to the quality and safety management system. I worked with Canadian authorities to create new airline regulations that became official in 2005. I based it off of manufacturing, DuPont stock, which the airline industry didn't know about, and we talked to the guys in the nuclear industry, put that all together. But I was sitting in my office one day, and then somebody came in and said, plane just hit the tower. I said, what? I said, plane just hit the tower. My office is right across the boardroom, and I walk in, and a couple of the executives were already in the meeting. They put it up on the screen, and plane hits the tower, and Clive Edwards, who's the vice president of Tech Ops, that's the maintenance division. He goes, that's not the same plane. I goes, what? And soon enough, within a couple minutes, they said, the second plane has hit the tower. And a couple minutes, not very long, the CEO, Al Graham, a really brilliant CEO, I mean, this guy's awesome. He goes, we're at war. It's pretty clear. 2, statistically impossible. And the airline industry is tight-knit across the planet. It's not like you're a Canadian or American. When there's something wrong with the airline industry, they're all affected. It's a real global partnership. It's amazing to witness, actually. And so, very, very quickly, they said, okay, let's send all non-essential personnel home. Everyone went home. Let's call all essential to the airport because they knew the airspace was being shut down and get people to help with the aircraft and stuff like that. And once all that was in gear, he looked at me and a couple of the other guys and he said, I want a cut plan. You cut 20, 25, 30% of the workforce within 30 days. So within 30 days, we had to cut that much cost out of the company in order to survive because we understood it was going to be cash flow. So that's what we did. Didn't sleep much. We did it. There was another company at the time called Canada 3000. They didn't survive because they didn't move as fast as we did. I don't think they had the same leadership at the time. So after that, I was pretty burnt out, to be honest with you. And a colleague called me from the consulting industry and said, listen, I got a gig down in the United States. It was a massive pay increase at the time. And you got a young family, it kind of made sense. And it was a different approach. We would go in and train their people to be consultants. And I like that aspect. It was pretty neat. So I took off and I went back into consulting. So at that time, I worked so hard, I never questioned anything. Yeah. Terrorists came in, did this. That's the deal. And you work hard, you're trying to raise your family, end of story. So when we were down in the New York area, we were doing steel plants at the time, and in New Jersey, these were steel plants that were top of the world in the 1980s, and at this time they looked like bombed parts that they were something that was awful condition. So we're in there, and we're fixing them up, and I brought my family down. We were living in New Jersey at the time. We moved down to Toronto quite a bit. And I come home, and my wife comes in, she goes, Grant, it's not true. I said, what? She goes, the 9/11 thing. She's just people in the streets are passing out these pamphlets. They're wearing these black shirts with white 9/11 truth that they say the government did it. Come on. She goes, it's going to be on the news. Watch this. Go on TV. She's freaking out. I mean, she saw a lot of people. Like she's been downtown New York before. So we put on the TV, you get an abortion clinic with 3 guys in front of it, it's on the tube. And there was nothing. And I could see by her reaction that something wasn't right with Dodge, right? So that was the first real seed planted in our minds that something's really not right. So a few years later, I had some time off, consulting business, ups and downs. And in my time off, I was watching a film called In Plain Sight, where you have a Nobel Prize winner looking at this hole in the Pentagon saying, the hole, she's at this big. And the plane, she's at this big. She doesn't fit, right? Is what he's showing people, like on a board and going, wow, this is messed up. I've got this guy, George Bush, got the IQ of a grapefruit, and it's just like, I got this, you know, he was awarded his Nobel Prize at the same time as Stephen Hawking, this guy. And, you know, here's this bright man, so where should I, you know, that took me down the path. I better start digging into this. So off I went researching because I had the time. So that's a bit my story in a nutshell. And so the concept, Wiki versus New World Order. New World Order, we'll get into it. And that's the part where I think needs a lot of material because it's a paradigm shift for some people if they've never heard of it or don't understand it. Wiki is the concept of collaboration. The internet is allowing us to collaborate spontaneously with a bunch of different tools today. It used to be a wiki was just a tool. It was actually a wiki tool where you can collaborate and build as coders and stuff. And today there's multiple. You can use Facebook or whatever. So I haven't been on Facebook that long, only about 3-4 months, and beep, thing goes off, and it's Ken O'Keefe doing a Fuck the TSA tour. Oh, honey, did you check this out? Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's coming to town. We should see if he needs help or what's going on. Hey, Ken. So I go through his website. Ken sends me back an email. I'm going down to San Diego. Yeah, check with Ann. She's helping coordinate. If you can help out, that'd be great. So I get in contact with Ann. And says, yeah, we need help. Boom. We think, oh, what can we do here? Well, I know this girl, Natasha. And she helped organize a group for this Bill C-51 that was passed in Montreal. So let's contact Natasha. Natasha goes, I'm on board. So Kelly, Natasha, and then they click out. Guy named Emmanuel, who has massive contacts, and all of a sudden this thing pops up, which is this organization here. It's a little wiki, is what this is. This is a real form of it, but it starts on the internet. Spontaneously, a group of people around an issue pop up and make things happen. It's pretty neat. That's Wiki in a nutshell. Raise your hand if you see an older woman. Raise your hand if you see a younger woman. Not the same answer. Some people can see both, though, I can tell. Right? So, if you're looking at that line that's cutting across, that can be either a mouth or a necklace. It can be either an older woman looking down towards me right now, or it can be a younger woman looking up that way, depending on the amount of information. And you interpret the image based on your paradigms in life, right? Your knowledge base, when you see things, will affect how you see things. Look at your eye first, the data, your brain will organize it and give you what you want to see. That's what we call a paradigm, right? It's based on your whole framework of your reality and your life experience. So there was once a paradigm in Europe, it wasn't all over the world, where the Earth, she was flat, right? The Earth was flat. Copernicus, before dying, said, no, the Earth, she's flat, she's round, we're not center. He did it as he was dying because he knew there'd be ramifications. Galileo, a brilliant scientist, came out and he did it live, and he paid consequences. He was incarcerated and everything else. Why is that? It's just stating a fact. He did an experiment, a couple pecks in the ground, looking at the stars, moving, we are round. And so the problem is that we have to put ourselves in their place at the time. You're born. When you're born, there's a priest present. When you get married, there's a priest. When you die, there's a priest. Your whole society, the whole economy, everything's based on religion. And the religion has taught you, the structure, the power structure has taught you that they speak to God, and you get your information through them, and they give you access to heaven or hell, right? All control of your whole eternity. Not just your bank account, this account, but they're controlling eternity for you. And they have told you that since they talk to God, they know everything, and they've told you the earth is flat. Now this son of a gun over here is all of a sudden flipping up and saying it's round. That puts a big problem in the mix, because if that's not right, what else isn't right? The whole house of cards comes tumbling down. So, as far as I'm concerned, that paradigm shift for those people in those days is the equivalent today of saying 9/11 was an inside job for most of the population, right? You want to take that?
Sorry, I was trying.
So to me, being a person in that world at that time when you've grown up, people have created this information bubble around you, this perception of the world. And the world is being flat, and some guy's piping up and saying it's round all of a sudden. Total contradiction to all your experience and everything you've told is the same thing we're going up against for people who are now aware that 9/11 isn't right. It wasn't right what we were told. Same deal. Same shift. So, chapter 1 of the book is the myth of these active Islamic terrorists. So, a bunch of facts, and that's why the book is so big. The book is 2/3 what the problem is and 1/3 what the solution is, because to get on board of what the problem is, if people are coming away saying the world is flat, you gotta get it where the world is round, you're gonna have a lot of solid arguments and a lot of data points, because people are affected differently. Some people have a background in physics, and if somebody points them in the right direction, off they go. Some people, it's politics, and they understand the money exchanges and stuff that went on. That's what lightens them up. Different people, different things get them going. So, a bunch of facts there listed on what's going on, and that's how each chapter is set up. It starts with, what's the misconception from my perspective? What are some facts we know? And then we jump into it. Let's take a look at somebody who's really gross, John Gross, lead engineer at NIST.
I'm curious about the pool of molten steel that was found in the bottom of the tower.
Please tell me about it. Have you seen it?
Well, not personally, but my witnesses there found huge pools of molten steel beneath the towers, and some scientists don't think that the collapse of the building could have melted all that steel. And physics professor analyzed some of the steel, and Stephen Jones, he found evidence of thermate residue, which would explain how the buildings collapsed by means of pre-punctured explosions. So, have you analyzed the steel for those residues?
First of all, let's go back to your basic premise that there was a pool of molten steel. I know absolutely nobody, no eyewitness who said something wouldn't produce it.
Get down below and see molten steel. Molten steel running down the channel. Like you're in a foundry. Quite a lot.
Still took, but it's just one of the biggest things.